Okay, first of all, I'd like to say what I've been telling you guys since camp began. It was in full effect Saturday. You got a chance to see it. I've been telling you guys that I thought this might be the best defense we've had since I've been here, and that we've had some explosive guys on offense. And you could see that Saturday. But there were some other things that were glaring Saturday that are behind the scenes that people don't see. When you're trying to put a program together and build, the first thing that you got to try to get in place, and as quickly as possible can, is the culture that you want the program to have. And the program that I deal with these kids are on several principles. First being respect, the second one being accountability and dependability, and all that stuff goes to discipline. And you saw some of those things rear its head, that we don't have everything in place yet that we want to have in place or adhere to, like we wanted to, with the discipline, with the turnovers that we had. Those things that need to be cleaned up, but I think they all go back to completely being disciplined about what you do. And if you're completely disciplined about what you do, the turnovers don't happen because you protect the football. That's one of the key goals that we have in terms of what we do, make sure that we win the turnover margin game. One of the other goals that we have as a football team is that we're really good on third down on both sides of the ball, that we're good in the red zone on both sides of the ball, and also that we stop the run and we run the ball down. We hit a good portion of those things, but two important things we missed. We were not good on third down on offense, and we were not good on the red zone in offense, and we were not good on red zone in the defense, and therefore we lost the game that basically we dominated as a football team. And that shouldn't happen to you. I've never been a part of a game like that when we seemed to be a little stronger, and yet did not win the football game. So we got to get all those things cleaned up as we go forward, so that we can be the kind of football team that our ability dictates that we can be.
Do you kind of attribute that to, like you said last week, how young this team is?
It has something to do with that, yes. Our quarterback's young. I told you guys when early in spring that we had enough guys at quarterback and we could win with any of them. And I believe you could see that in the game Saturday. Any of those guys can win games for us. But all of those guys have got to take care of the football. And all those guys have got to make sure that they do exactly what they're coached to do. Because there were some plays that we left out on the field that if you see the film, it'll make you cry. Because we left plays out there because there were some things that we didn't execute from that position and other positions on offense and on defense that could have really, really done us some justice as a team in that football game Sunday, excuse me. I'm so used to playing.
Any more clarity on the quarterback situation after this first one?
Yeah, well, we got to go with the most consistent guy. Everybody sees Jalen and how dynamic he is. Everybody got a glimpse at Casey at Quincy and what kind of guy he can be. Preponderance, the most consistent guy, and he'll be the guy that steps up first Saturday.
I mean, has there ever been a case for you where you've given three quarterbacks that many reps in a game?
It wasn't supposed to be that way. But it worked out that way because of a discipline problem we had on our team, because Quincy was not supposed to start the game, but he started the game because of disciplinary problems that I won't go into with the other two. And so we would have probably end up playing two, and Quincy maybe at the end, but it ended up having to be that way because of those other issues that we dealt with.
I guess, is there anything, you kind of mentioned it, but anything you attribute to the third quarter kind of going off the deep end there?
Well, we gave them hope. We had them at a point where we had just scored in the third quarter to go up by 9. Missing the extra point doesn't help. Letting them stay in the game with missed field goals and things of that nature doesn't help you. And there were some things that ebb and flow. We turn the ball over, and they score on an interception for a touchdown, but we get the ball back, we go right back down and score the ball, and we get a penalty in the end zone that I think kind of helped turn the tide of the football game. What the penalty was and what it was made for is inconsequential. It was done in the end zone, and I think that kind of helped turn a different ebb and flow of the game for us. And we end up missing that next extra point, and then right shortly after that, some other things happen. They seize momentum. And when you have a team down, you have to keep your foot on their neck. And we didn't do a good job of doing that.
You mentioned the penalty. I know there was other things that went into the game, but is that kind of frustrating as a coach when a penalty happens that's completely out of your control in terms of your guys or anything like that?
Yeah, I addressed that in the press conference Saturday, but it was it was a travesty that something like that happened to us. But it was just like the rest of the weekend. Last weekend was a tough weekend for our football team with all the adversity we had to travel and other things. It was just another thing on top of it. But it's no excuse for us not holding point and staying ahead in that game and doing what we had to do to win that football game.
Coach, what do you take from the game? I mean, you positive things. Your offense, receivers look well, running backs play well.
Guys, I mean, we have a talented football team, and I felt that we could do that against them. I felt that we could move the ball. I felt that we could both run it and pass it against the team we played against. That was evident Saturday that we can do that. It's just the little things that we've got to get better at as a football team, collectively and individually, to help us be the best we can be every time we step on the grass or step on the turf, whatever we're playing on. And we got to get those things instilled and ingrained in us, that being on time, not missing anything, making sure that I always take care of every responsibility that I have to ensure that we can be as successful as we can as a team. Those things have got to take place for us to be the kind of football team that I envision us being, because I think we can be outstanding.
What do you know about South Alabama?
I think they're a solid football team. They like to run the football. They like to throw the ball downfield. Their quarterback is an adequate runner. They have a big team. They're big up front on defense. They're big up front on offense. They're going to be a kind of an option with the zone read and the split zone read teams. That team that we got to stop. But I think there'll be a challenge for us. We're playing up to the next level, and if we're going to have an opportunity to win this game, we got to be at our best.
What's the team's mood right now?
I think they're in good spirits. If you don't look at that video and see yourself being pretty good after the individual and the collective performance at times that we had last week, then you have a problem as a human being, because they should feel pretty good about the way they played, how hard they played. It's like I told them Saturday in pregame, I was not concerned about how hard this football team would play. I knew that they would play hard. The thing that I was concerned about is how we played it between the ears, and there were some things between the ears we need to get better.
How do you, as a coach, go about rectifying that, making sure that you see more of what happened in the first half than letting the second half kind of snowball?
Well, you guys keep sticking what you're teaching on the wall, because it's all teaching. No matter what we do, we have to teach them, because the lessons we teach them are not just lessons about football, they're lessons about life. And adversity is going to strike you in life just like it does in football. And when you get adversity, it doesn't matter that the adversity does something to you. It matters how you respond to adversity. And we've got to respond better to adversity than we did Saturday.
Is there a motivating factor for when you go and play FBS schools?
Well, you're playing up. You don't want to. You want to go and you want to show everybody that if it was me and I was playing, I'd have a chip on my shoulder, because everybody says that you this and that, and you're here and you're there. I'd have a chip to show them that I'm as good as those guys are over there. That's how I would play. And I'm hoping that our guys will play that way with a chip on their shoulder, because we're playing up and no one has an expectation of us doing anything. But I do have an expectation of us doing something in the game, and I've let the team know that at 6:30 this morning what my expectation is.
500 yards in total offense. First time 500 yards in a game since 2013. Most yards in a game since 2016. How encouraging is that for you?
It's really encouraging, but we left another 200 yards out there. We should have had 700 in this game. We left some plays out there. If you saw it, you would say, wow. We left plays out on the field that would have really, really blown this game apart.